Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of the Digg Podcast. I can't believe it's really Christmas in my head. It's nearly Christmas, and the weeks are rolling in and the months. But with every week, I feel enlightened with the guests that I'm speaking to, and today is no different. Today on the Digg Podcast, I am speaking to Melanie Breslin. Now, Melanie has quite a story to share with us all, and one which she told me that she's never shared in its entirety to everyone. So I'm very grateful that she's decided to do that today on the podcast, and I'm very aware that I don't know her whole journey. So I can't wait just to hear how everything has unfolded for her. But what Melanie does is she helps individuals find and step into their true passion. So it's her goal to help her clients become the highest version of themselves and to guide them to truly achieve their goals. And the ones that people have set goals for themselves. So how are they going to achieve them? That's what she helps you with. She helps individuals find and step into their true passion. And yes, she talks about reprogramming yourself and how you think. And I think that's really, really important, because you can just get set in your ways and not know how to step past your own self sometimes, which is what happens to me. People always want to learn how to be more productive, and that's what I feel Melanie's really, really good at. What I gained from her out of my short time of knowing her. Melanie spoke at the Digg Podcast live event in the Galgorm. You may have heard it in one of the podcasts gone by, and she just gave a little snippet of advice. And then she gave me some more recently on a mastermind that I was doing. And it was, well, we'll talk about it in the podcast, because I know so many of you are going to put that into practice and get so much more done. So today we're going to talk about like how to prioritize things and how to get more done in a day without being frazzled, and also how to open your mind to opportunity, because that's obviously a big block for some people, and also so much more. It's going to be a jam-packed podcast, but I'm delighted to have her here. Thank you so much for being on the Digg Podcast, Melanie.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and what an introduction. How can I even follow on from that?
It's all taken from your, I went on to investigate on your website and your LinkedIn, and, there's a lot of testimonials and a lot of, videos, and it's all very real and there for people to check out. So I know they're only words at this stage, but we want to hear what it actually means, because sometimes you hear that kind of talk and jargon like that, and it's very hard to understand how we can put that into practice. But what I suppose with everybody has a story. It's not just about what people work at, it's their journey to get there. So do you want to tell us a bit about that and what that's kind of looked like over the last years?
Surely. Now, this is one thing that I always teach people. We can never see like the goal. We can never see where we're at until we get there and then start to join the dots up. So only now can I actually look back on every part of my journey, every part of my life that I thought that had to happen to take me there, for me to meet that person, for me to do this. And it's only then when we look back, we can actually join the dots up. And that's what now at the moment, like I'm going right back to 2006. And that was kind of around about the time when my journey started. And I was in my late 20s and I was introduced to The Secret. So for anyone that haven't watched The Secret or read it, or like, it's on Netflix, it's a documentary. And that is where I met my mentor, Mr. Bob Proctor, that passed away in February. But he changed everything in my life, everything. Now, I had known all about manifestation, that you sit and think about something that's going to show up. It's not the way it works at all. It is all about like the science behind it, understanding who you are, understanding the frequencies. It talked all the time about the law of attraction, that we all know about the law of attraction, but we don't know that that's a secondary law to the law of vibration. So what we're vibrating at, what we're putting out, that's what we're attracting into our life. So I sat and I wrote down what I wanted in my life. I drew out the house I wanted, everything. And at late 20, I was just coming out of a relationship when I was about 29. And I thought, right, it was one of the most horrible experiences of my life, but I had to go through that at that stage to be where I'm at now. And throughout my journey, I had been a hairdresser, started hairdressing at 16, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was the kind of, the clients and the conversations and the community, but I also found that I was helping and giving advice. And I think That's it. You're a counsellor to your clients as well. So you're giving them loads of advice. You're hearing about their stories. And then it took then until I took ill, and it was a decision, right, I can't stand here until day dot and do people's hair. What am I going to do? So my husband then at that stage, he owned a butcher's, and we had such a love and passion for food that we opened up a restaurant. Now, even at that, I was always putting someone else in front of me. I couldn't make a decision, Caroline. I was all, yeah, that sounds good. I bake. Country girl, grew up baking, knows loads of recipes handed down from my grannies. And that's when I opened up my first restaurant. And now it took a leg of its own. It was crazy busy, really crazy busy. And again, reinvested. And then I'd say it was 2018 that everything went bang. And now looking back, I just wasn't meant to be doing what I was doing then. We opened a restaurant, invested everything that we had into it. Like, I mean, everything. One of the best, in my opinion, restaurants. It was gorgeous. It was a deli, cocktail bar at night, beautiful layout, gorgeous building, but it didn't work. And it didn't work. And I kept it going. 6 weeks, give it another 6 weeks, give it another 6 weeks. Really genuinely thinking that there was no reason why it didn't. But the reason why it didn't now, looking back, because I'm aware of this material, was because I set it up to fail before it even opened. Because I was afraid. I was thinking, this isn't going to work, this is too big, we've never done this before, we're going into nighttime. So I was blaming everything out around myself, but I hadn't taken responsibility for myself. And then it came the bang that the universe had been pushing me in this direction of watching The Secret, of knowing all about manifestation, of loving my crystals and angel cards, and that was my whole life. I loved all that. But then it got to the stage then that, you know what, I was thinking, this isn't working. This isn't working. Things aren't going my way. Things aren't happening the way I want them to. And we ended up closing the business. I ended up going bankrupt. I ended up almost losing my home, losing everything as I thought then. But in my understanding, that was only the start of my journey. That was the universe had been pushing me that direction, and because I wasn't taking the hint so much that I had a bigger purpose in this planet, and money wasn't one of them. Like, worrying about other people's opinions wasn't one of them. My bigger purpose was, I'm here for a reason. Like, every single one of us, we're here on this planet for a reason. And I found out while I collapsed on my kitchen floor, and my husband had picked me off the floor many a time to, like, blackouts, panic attacks, worried, I just thought it was the end. And I had got then asked God, if everyone's got their own beliefs, but mine was God. And I says, there has to be a better way to live my life. There has to be a better way than lying wakened at night, worrying about someone sending an email, sending a message, looking for a bill. It was just constant. I wasn't by no means present as a mother, as a wife. I blamed my husband for everything. I practically was on the verge of hating him, because it was his fault that we had decided to open this. It was his fault that I went down this route. It was his fault that I gave up hairdressing. God love that man. I blamed him for absolutely everything, and he took the brunt of it. And then I was not even present with my daughter, and it was just convenient for me to drop in and out whenever I needed something from someone else. Whereas whenever I changed that internal program that we were speaking about earlier on, you realize that we can only change that internal program, and number one, by an emotional impact that I had on my kitchen floor, a complete breakdown, or by it's elite mentorship and repetition, repeating the same thing, really, truly repeating it over and over again until you're reprogramming yourself. Now, I do not recommend at all the emotional impact. You can talk, emotional impact would be the likes of 9/11, the likes of losing a family member, or a good one, like having a child. So this is all really, you can just change your complete belief of who you are in that split second. So whenever I was on the floor asking God for help, the next thing then, I had been watching The Secret on repeat for, oh my goodness, months on end. but nothing had changed. And then within maybe about 30, 40 seconds, I had heard Bob Proctor's voice, and I was going, oh shit. I asked for help and this man has come on my screen. The mentor that I needed was there, talking about the journeys, talking about the programs, talking about the paths to take you to where you need to be. And my husband says to me, he says, listen, he says, if you don't reach out and do something, he says, I'm going to do it because I just want my wife back. I want the wife that I met, that I fell in love with, back. And I didn't realize that he was going to get multiplied by 10, completely different, complete belief in herself. Because every step in my journey from, I went through IVF, was told I couldn't have kids. My daughter, she came along naturally a year later, within a year, been in relationships, physical, mental abuse, to bring me now to where I'm at. And this is it, Caroline, this is the fact of knowing my life didn't change by accident. My life, it changed by design. I designed the life I wanted. I designed who I wanted to be, the identity that I wanted to have. And then I had to build upon it. Because I know now, like, I was such a people pleaser. I would have done anything for anyone. I would have maybe drove to Dublin to get a pen just for someone to actually like me, because that was the identity that I had. I thought, I will be happy when I lose a certain amount of weight. I will be happy when I get that promotion in work. I will be happy whenever I have a certain amount in the bank balance. I will be happy if someone else gives me compliments. But that was all a complete and total false identity. And then it's not ego talking or anything like that now, but I have built that trust in myself and that belief in myself that I have true self-love. And I mean, I love myself so much because there's no one else like me on this planet. Same as yourself, there's no one like you on this planet either. So
yeah, I'm listening and I've got all these things that I want to say whenever you're saying all that. So first of all, this is probably I'm probably in the minority. I've never read The Secret or seen The Secret.
You should. The Secret.
And I see the book and I see everybody talking about it, and I've just never read it, right? So I will make that my goal whenever we come off the podcast. That's one of the things I'm going to do. I listened to you talking about your business closing.
Yeah.
And this is a hard thing for me to say, but when I listened to that and you said that you had set it up to fail, that it was destined to fail, do you really believe that? Like, yeah. I mean, is that so but there'll be people listening that have businesses failed, myself included, and I deep down believe I couldn't have done any more to make it work, and I don't believe that I set mine up to fail. So when I listen to you say that, I'm like, really? Is that really, like, what? Talk to me about that. That.
It's my thought process. It was my thought process because I didn't want it. As a partnership, myself and my husband, I didn't want it then. So I have to take full responsibility. It's a universal law of cause and effect. I'm the cause. Every result around me is the effect. See, when we take full responsibility for everything showing up in our life, and I know, yes, it was really difficult. It was a journey for me to do that. It was a journey for me to understand, but only now, yes, it's the best thing ever happened to me. It is the best thing ever happened to me because I am where I'm at now. Because if it didn't happen, I would still probably be there scraping by, trying to go week to week. Whereas making that decision, making that irrevocable decision that, you know what, I can't go through this anymore. I can't live in this way anymore. Now, looking back at my awareness now, looking back at every decision that I made, on the very start of the journey, I was all right. I split up the two companies. I had a company. I split it into two just in case. So what was that? I didn't have any belief or didn't have any faith that it was going to work. On a subconscious level, I had no belief in myself. So then, therefore, I had no belief in my business. Then I thought I needed all these different shiny objects outside of myself to make it successful, to make it that elite. Now, if it was now, at my mindset now, it would probably be different. But yeah, I definitely did set it up to fail. But I can only take responsibility for myself because I know what I put into it. Every week I would have sat and said, please, just give me enough for the wages. Give me enough for the wages, because I never wanted my staff to go without wages, ever. And that was every week, without a doubt, by 3 o'clock on a Monday, to the penny, would have been there for the wages. I just didn't manifest enough for the rest of the bills, but right up to that point. But it was only my awareness now that I can accept that responsibility, that this is where I'm at. And now at the stage, like I'm mentoring businesses going through the same thing that I did then, but I can guide them. I can guide them on how to change their thoughts, because the power of your thoughts and the power of your words, what you're saying, it is phenomenal. Like, it is, everything begins with the word. So if I didn't go through what I went through, I could not help the people that I'm helping now. I could not mentor the businesses I want to and say, right, that thought process, we have to flip this over. We don't look at the economy around us. We create our own economy. We create our own economy, our conditions, our circumstances. And exactly what I teach as well, we don't live by our senses. So many of us decide that we want something, but then the results aren't happening. And then what happens? We give up just before we hit gold. We give up just, if we persist on our goal, okay? We never change your goal. We maybe change the direction till we get to your goal. But my goal of what I want to do now, like, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I have no idea how I'm going to get there, but I know I stand strong in my vision every single day, because I see that I don't want people to go through what I went through. I want to educate them and how they can change their thought process and how they can change their life, because there is such an easier way to live, Caroline.
I know. And can I talk about what you said about challenging your thoughts? So a lot of businesses are going through the whole financial element now, where everybody's talking about the cost of living. People aren't going to be spending. Are they going to be buying your products? Are they going to be hiring your services? And it's holding a lot of people back from progress because they're afraid. So, and I get that the fear of God is in business owners, because they don't know how things are going to be. Are people going to buy my stock? Are people going to book me? Are people going to need me because they don't have the extra cash? So what would you say to people that are going through that right now? How you talked about challenging those thoughts and flipping them and stuff. Can you give us any more guidance to someone who's listening now going, oh, I'm afraid to do that event or launch that new service because people might not want it? What would you say to them listening to that?
For me, there's fear and faith. Okay, fear and faith, both. You have to think of something that you can't see. So why do we always go down the worst case scenarios? We always think, right, I'll do this, but worst case scenario, A, B, and C, I'll have a backup plan. Why not use faith instead? Why not see what you want to see? See the full, whether it's an arena that you want to book out, whether it is a business, whether it's an investment. Look at what the faith part, like the faith factor. For me, like, so many people, so many of my clients, they're all, right, the fear, I can't do this. If you for a second think that you can't do it, you will never do it. If you for a second think that you can't invest in your business, you will never invest in your business. This is why we never think from our present results now. We cannot think from our present results. We have to go to our goal. This is why having a goal is so important. Okay, and we start off with our want. So you think, right, what do I want in an ideal world? How do I want my business to be? What's my goal? What's my weekly goal for my business? What's my monthly goal? What's my yearly goal? Then we go to that place, because your thoughts, you've got this thought for a reason. So you will not have a thought if you cannot achieve it. You have a thought from God, from source, from energy, whatever you want to call it. So you have this thought. You only have that thought if you can achieve it. So we go there to your goal achieved, and we make decisions from that place. As your goal achieved, how do you invest in yourself? How do you invest in your business? Like, as your goal achieved, would you be thinking that you can't book that seminar? Would you be thinking that you can't book, employ that extra member of staff? No, because at that goal achieved, this is the people you would need around you. This is who you are, but it all comes with awareness. Fear just comes from lack of knowledge. That's where fear comes from. So whenever we flip the fear into faith, living in faith and knowing that this is what you're going to achieve, this is what's going to show up for you. But it is lack of awareness, basically, Caroline, at the minute.
And it's like you said to me before we came on the call, you were asking me how things were, and I was telling you different things that were going on. You were like, so what's your goals for the next while? And I was like, I don't set goals, because I'm afraid. You know what? I'm afraid to set goals in case I lost the run of myself and I'm no longer present, as you talked about, for my family, my husband. At the minute, I have a happy balance. I'm afraid to let my mind run of what my goals are. That's the situation I'm at the minute, because I feel frazzled. But as you said, actually, if I did set my goals, I would see what I need to put in place to get there. It's like reverse kind of thinking, isn't it? Like a reverse
so
kind of thinking.
If we don't have a goal, it's like you go out and you get into your car. You have to have a destination. If you have a business, you have to have an exit plan. Same again. If for your life, you need to have a goal. For my first goal, and it's so funny because I've goal cards here. There's goal cards everywhere. But my first goal, when I started my journey, was to be happy, because I had the most deepest rooted fear, that horrible knot in my stomach that carried around all day, every day, that then I would have pushed things away, I would have suppressed things, and tried to forget about them. But it's not about suppressing, because that will just come out through anxiety, depression, having a breakdown on your kitchen floor, because I was suppressing all the time. Whereas now my goal scares me so much. We talk about A-type goals, B-type goals, and C-type goals. So our A-type goals is like, you can break it down into the week that you know you want to earn a certain amount. Your business, you've like, what's your business going to come in? You've got your C-type goal then, that is so far removed from you that you don't know how you're going to ever achieve it. And then your B-type goal, what your B-type goal is, if you make a few phone calls, if you contact someone, you'll be able to, maybe the likes of buying a house that you've never done before. But you know, if you ring a mortgage advisor, they get a mortgage, that's your B-type goal, all right? Whereas this C-type goal is your stretching goal. So you get into the car, you need a destination to go to, okay? You wake up in the morning, you need somewhere to be directing your thoughts towards. And that's what your goal is. Your goal is your destination. And it's not about getting the house, or it's not about getting the car. It's not about all the shiny objects. It's a person you become on the way. Because if you're not stretching into the next version of you, because the Melanie that's sitting here, I'm still exactly the same person, okay? But I'm a completely different version. I'm not that shy person that had no confidence, that couldn't speak, that had lost her voice. Like, I'm a leader. I know what I'm doing. I know that I have a purpose to help people on their journey, to show them, to guide them, to take their hand whenever they're falling, whenever they're crumbling, and say, you know what? This is how you can step-by-step process. It's a blueprint to success. And that's what I show people what to do. But you have to have a goal, because if you don't, you're drifting. And as we're drifting, sometimes we can be drifting backwards, sometimes we can go around in circles, sometimes we're not organized, and that's all it is. So it's to have that goal to really focus on, to drive towards.
And I suppose if people are listening, you know, there's a good message in that goal setting. And I'm very, like I said, very bad at it. I live week to week, month to month. As my husband says, one drama to the next. He's like, you get out of one handling and you're straight back into another.
Right. That's part of your programming. That's just part of your programming.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So we have a program that runs our full day. There's a whole science to it, okay? There's a whole big science. It's not just sitting airy-fairy with the hands up, waiting for things to show up. So the science behind it is, there's the law of vibration, what you're vibrating at. An example, you wake up in the morning, you step on one of the kids' toys, okay? And you react. Then we come downstairs and you're in a bad vibration. You're giving off bad energy. And you open up the fridge, there's no milk left. You go to get in the car, your husband left the car back and didn't fill it with diesel, so you have to go get diesel. So you're vibrating this frequency. It's a knock-on effect, one thing after another, after another, after another. So this is why I say, set your morning up to one, set your morning with like gratitude that you woke up, you're here on this planet for another day. And this
so just to jump in, if you stood on that toy and there was no milk and there was no diesel in the car, which happens in 90% of the houses, that's things that happen in everyday life. So what do you do when you stand on the toy and there is no milk and there's no diesel?
How you start your day is how you set yourself up to one throughout the day. If you start your day in a bad vibration, it's going to have a knock-on effect. Those things are going to affect you. Those things are going to annoy you. Then you're going to go in and there's going to be no coffee in the coffee shop that you want your coffee in, because you're setting yourself up to win. If you're setting yourself up to feel, if you wake up in the morning and okay, no big deal, you stepped on the kid's toy, but you're in a different frequency than that. You don't allow it to annoy yourself. You don't allow these wee steps along the way to annoy you. You're not reacting to them, you're responding instead. But this all comes through your programming. This will come through because that program runs, I would say, 98% of your day on a subconscious level, and it's called a paradigm. It's a set of beliefs, behaviors, react, respond. It's all about your identity, what you believe of yourself. Okay, so this is what we have to look at. What's the things in that program that you need to change? And one of them that I shared with you last week was being laser focused. Some people procrastinate. That's a non-productive habit. Some people lie on to the very last minute. That's a non-productive habit. Some people blame other people for their mistakes. That's another habit. So it's looking at, right, what's these different steps and tricks that we can change? What's the ones? It's taking full responsibility, personal responsibility for our life. Because if we are looking, like if we're allowing something else outside of ourselves, okay, to control us, if we're allowing stepping on that toy, if we're allowing that there's no milk in the fridge or no diesel in the car, if we're allowing something outside of ourselves to control how we feel, your results will never change. You're just going to be one day after another, the same things showing up, the same results over and over again. Whereas you take full responsibility and go, okay, listen, this is up to me. It's up to me. It's my choice how I live my life. It's my choice how I can, the next step that I take. Because if you are vibrating at an amazing energy and pure gratitude, like all those wee things along the way is not going to bother you. But if you're going to let them build up and build up and build up, that's what you're attracting into your life.
I know. Can I tell you a wee story? So this morning I was doing we'll talk about it now, the 15-minute thing that you talked about. So Melanie gave me this tip whereby you do 15-minute bursts of work. Yeah. So what I try to do in the morning, I would say 90% of my life, I leave the house and there's not a bed made and there's not a cup in the dishwasher and the dishwasher's full and the washing machine's full. And it's a handling when you come home every evening. The place is upside down. It does not do my mind good. So I'm like, for 15 minutes, like Melanie said, I'm going to make all the beds, empty the dishwasher, refill it and get a load in and a load out and get the children's noses and teeth and all that washed in 15 minutes. So this morning I ran around and I was doing all that and I was loving life and I was thinking I am great. And my wee boy ran in, jumped on the bed, pulled back the quilts. Him and Tess got into it. They were having the crack, loving life, putting boxing gloves on, all wrecking the place. And I went in and I was like, right, you've got to get out of that room. I tidied that room. And to be honest, I was in bad form leading them to school. We said our prayers on the way to school. I said I was sorry for acting like a psycho. But I do see how your reactions to things can then, and I feel bad now. I'm even talking about it now. I'm like, God, I was such a trunchbull this morning. Out of Matilda, that's all I think of. But I'm going to try. I guess we're only human, but you gave me that 15, which we'll talk about now. But I mean, it's trying to change your mindset or your reactions to things to stop you from having a negative rest of the day. Am I right in saying all of that?
It's so true. And it doesn't happen overnight because our life's created with habits. Okay, so your programming is just a group of habits. That's it. That's all it is. So someone has shown you how to get dressed. Someone's showing you how to brush your teeth. Someone has shown you how to use a fork and knife. So that's all someone else is showing you what to do. So your day is created by someone else's habits. Okay? So the likes of it, we have to change that habit. We have to change the habit that is controlling all day, every day. Now, it's a group of habits. So to change that, it doesn't happen overnight, Caroline. It's great that I can actually say to someone, do A, B, and C. But the thing about it is, they're conditioned not to do A, B, and C. Their programming will not allow them to do that. They'll do it for a week and then it goes back to their old self. So to change a habit, to create a habit is between 8 and 200 days. All right. It could happen in like an emotional impact. You could change it straight away. But to change a habit, you have to replace that non-productive habit with a productive habit. So this is why I always say your pen and your paper are two of the most important pieces of material that you have, because you're taking personal responsibility and you're writing down, what do you not do well? Don't talk about guilt. Don't talk about judgment, because enough people judge each other in this world. We don't have guilt because guilt's one of the lowest emotions on the emotional ladder. And we write down, what do I need to change? So being more productive throughout the day, you're changing that habit, but you have to do it on average for 90 days consistently every day. Because when we're children and we're hearing something every single day from 0 to 7, that's the programming then at that age. So if you're telling your child, oh, you can't read, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, they're going to believe that. They're going to believe that. So this is why we have to flip that and we have to tell ourselves we're reprogramming. I am productive. I am really productive. And this is why I'm productive, because I do my laser I do my laser focus. I step by step every single day. I tell myself this every day for 90 days until you create that productive habit. Then all of a sudden, you just do it. You don't think about doing it. You do it because it's become natural to you. Okay? And that's what it is. It's changing until the habits become natural.
What is a productive habit? What's a good productive habit?
Well, a non-productive habit for me, one of mine was procrastination. Like I would have procrastinated over even speaking to someone on the telephone, because I would have been violently sick before I even came on a phone call, because I had no voice. I stuttered, I stammered, I had zero voice. I couldn't communicate. So that was a non-productive for me. So my productive habit of that was do it now. Like the procrastination, I flipped it to do it now. As soon as I thought I need to contact someone, I lifted the phone and did it. Now, we break it down day by day. We don't try and do it. We don't promise ourselves like I'm going to be productive for the rest of my life. It's today. I'm going to be productive today. Tomorrow is day one again. I'm going to be productive today. And if you do that consistently for 90 days, you will become productive. Another one, like the sleeping on my bed. I would have been the last person out of bed, and give me another 5 minutes snooze. I think I must have had about 10 snoozes on my phone. Whereas then now I was all right, what's the opposite of that? Getting up half an hour earlier. So I started that. And every day.
Go on. Tell everybody what time you get up at. I already know this. Go on.
But you know what? It's something that I love because I work with clients all over the world. So
yes, I know, I understand.
I started off at, it would have been about, my daughter started school at 9 o'clock. I would have been getting out of my bed between 7:15 and 8:30, and the whole dive and the nightmare getting out of the house. So I started half an hour earlier. So I started then another hour earlier. Now I get up at the moment at 4:30. It is just because I cannot wait to get out and get my morning started. Now 4:30, 5 o'clock, I have got my whole morning routine, like writing my gratitudes, my rituals, going over my goal, knowing, being focused. And at that stage, by today, I have been, what time is now? 12. So this morning I have been in America. I have been in India. I have checked in with clients all over the UK. I have, so like all virtual, okay? But at the same time, it is so productive. Like if we think we don't have enough time, and as I shared with you, get out of your bed an hour earlier, it creates 9 40-hour weeks. Like 9 40-hour weeks. Not just a few hours here or there, but if you're getting out 1 hour a day for the full year, that's what you're creating for yourself. And we all say we don't have enough time. All we have to do is organize ourselves, because we can't organize time. That's it. That is the only thing.
Let's talk about, yes, that's so good. There, and I get you good clients, and that's why you get up at 4:30. And I know I was making a laugh about that, but I mean, because I'll never be getting up at 4:30. But I'm like you. I have 6 snoozes. 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the hell?
It was.
And it's horrible sleep in between those snoozes. So I should just get up. But my God, that bed is cozy in the morning.
But that's back to procrastination, Caroline. That's all.
I know. So I am trying to put some of these things into practice. So let's talk about the 15-minute thing, because I think there'll be people listening that will get great value and be able to put this into practice. And I've already told people on my socials about it, but the podcast community haven't heard it. So, and business owners could do this within their working environment, within their home life, and get so much more done. Let's talk about it. So
the 15-minute sprints, what we do is 15-minute sprints. You come in, whether it is emails, whatever you do in your job, okay? Switch off all distractions. I've got an amazing timer here. So this wee timer, I set 15 minutes, and I only focus on the one thing. Now, after those 15 minutes, whether it is you have to do an email, whether you have to make phone calls, whether you have to write, whatever it is in that 15 minutes, you just focus on that and that alone. Even the likes of like anything, training. If you want to do exercise for 15 minutes, focus on that and focus on that alone for those 15 minutes. Now then, after the 15 minutes, take 10 minutes away, 10 minutes away from what you're doing, and go and have a coffee, sit outside. If you smoke, go have a smoke, do whatever it is you want to do, scroll on social media for 10 minutes. Then you come back in and you do another 15-minute sprint. So it's basically just 15 minutes, even break it down to start off with for 10 minutes, then take a break. Now I can do up to 30 minutes, completely laser focused without any distractions at all. My husband, our offices are at home, and if he comes in, he knows I'm doing a sprint. There's no conversation. I don't stop. I don't have a conversation with him. But when I'm finished, I will go and have a conversation then. So it's just practicing it, starting it off. And as I said, it's creating that habit so you do it naturally, that you're not sitting on a Monday going in thinking, oh, I have all these emails to do at work, or I have all this to do at work. It's just going, I'll get through this really quickly because I'm laser focused today.
So interesting that you said this to me, and actually I have been doing it. Like, I kid you not, I have, and I'm poor Dara got the brunt of it this morning because he wrecked my work. But it does. You get so, and then I told my mummy, and she's doing it, and my friends are doing it. You get so much done in 15 minutes that I would probably take me an hour because I'm late, as you talk about, laser focused. So thank you for helping me with that. And then I listened to a podcast last week, and it was, you know, your guy Gary Vee, that's all in the social media and marketing and all. He's amazing. And he talked, and I was like, has he been trained by Melanie? He was talking about 15-minute Zoom meetings. He said these Zoom meetings that go on for an hour, that you could get read up in 15, he didn't say read up, that's an Irish way of speaking, but that you could get cleared up in 15 minutes. He said they are wasting your time. You are killing yourself. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to start doing that as well. Maybe I should start doing 15-minute podcasts. But I mean, 15-minute meetings, like I'd be on Zoom sometimes for an hour. What the hell is that about?
Because we're wasting so much time. Time is so precious. Now, my clients as well, because we have group calls. I do my teaching calls twice a week, and they have like a one-to-one laser call with me. You come to the call with a question. You have a question. There's no, how are you and how's the kids or how's it? Boom, this is what we're here. We're here for one thing and one thing only. I am not concerned. I love everything. I love everyone's family. I'm not concerned. I'm here to help you with your mindset. What do you need
what type
answered?
Of people, sorry for jumping in, but there's going to be people listening going, what type of person does that make you, though? That, you know,
amazing, productive.
An amazing person. But sometimes it is just small talk. It doesn't need to happen, really, because there aren't so many people that aren't your friends, and you know, you don't really need to know about their friends. That's terrible. But I mean,
but the thing about it is,
it should be work focused, right?
You want to help someone. I'm not going to help them by massaging their ego. I'm not going to help them by telling them something that is going to keep them stuck. The thing is exactly the same. If you can't, and as I always say, if you can't make a decision within 30 seconds, okay? If you don't make a decision within 30 seconds of having an idea, this is so key for anybody in business. Like, you don't deserve that idea. You're going to stand that idea that you've had. If you don't make a decision that you have this and it is done, it's going to stand stillborn. You're going to go backwards. Someone else in your industry is going to come up with the same idea and then create it. How many times that happened, that an ideas came to you and you think, oh my goodness, look, she's doing it. I thought of that a few months ago, and I thought that, but because you didn't make a decision to actually do it. And this is the same thing of coming on a call. I don't massage anybody's ego, because that's not going to be productive for them. I am actually doing them damage to keep them where they're at. If you want my help, I'm here to help. I'm all boom, straight away. This is what you do.
And there's a lot of taking action is very important. Like,
action is key.
How many times have we all sat and, like you just said, and went, oh, I was going to do that, and they've done that, and now I haven't. Like, but that's because you didn't take action. You knew you had the idea. 100%. So what have you any advice on taking action within your business to get results?
Nothing will change until you take action. We can read 1,000 books. We can study ourselves. We can look and sit and manifest and try and bring it all towards us. But the moment that you take action towards what you want, that's when you cause a reaction in the universe, and you cause, it's as I always say, it's about the vibration, what you're vibrating at. But the moment that you go towards it, your goal comes towards you. So you have to go towards it, because yes, it's going to happen quicker. It's a law of gestation. It will happen quicker for you when you take action. It will happen, but if you do not take action towards it, Caroline, you're pushing it into the future. And if we think that we're going to be happy when it happens, and in the future I'm going to be happy, well, the future's always in front of you. The future's always in front of you. Your goal's always in front of you. So to me, I am like a dog with a bone now. I will not let go until I achieve my goal.
So true. And you know, you've given us so many. Anything else there that we can pull out of you in this podcast? Is there any other wee tips? Any other wee tips that we can be better at our work than we are at the minute?
The thing about it is we invest in everything around us. We look for the car, we look for the house, we look for, to create the identity that we have. But that's not your identity. Your identity, number one, work on your standard, work on your discipline, Work on your self-image. Now, I'm not talking about the self-image that you're looking in the mirror and seeing the outer reflection of the clothes or the handbags or the designer shoes. I'm talking on the belief that you have of yourself. Stop judging yourself. Look at mirror work is so important. You look in the mirror every day and tell yourself how amazing you are. That you're here for a purpose. You're here to help people to change with whatever that is. That's the identity that you have of yourself. And key point, like my 4 pillars of success here is in front of me. So image, standard, attitude, and discipline. Discipline your thinking. Discipline your thinking only on what you do want, not on what you don't want. Like, go towards your goal. Because when we start to think of what we don't want, we're attracting that into our life. And it's going back to personal responsibility. Like, yes, it is difficult to admit, it's difficult to understand, but we don't judge ourselves. We only focus on where we're going. And that's why I always say, fast forward a year, where do you want to be? Fast forward 1 year, we invest, as I say, in all the glittery objects, but we don't go in here and look at in here. And this is where it starts, because this is where you can design your life. Mine didn't happen by accident. I designed it and I became it. Step by step.
We get so caught up in business life and work life and then managing family and all. You just trudge along and you get through and you battle each battle and you hope you survive. And you know, it's hard for some people to think about this inner work. Some people see it as airy fairy, Melanie. Some people see it as, you know, mumbo jumbo, whatever it may be. However,
it saved my life.
Exactly. And listening to that, and you know, elements of it are right for some people, other elements isn't. But if you can embrace anything like goal setting, laser focus, changing habits, like those 3 things alone, they're not rocket science, but they're actually could change things around. So there's great power in your words there.
I love the fact that this material is so simple. We're conditioned to think we have to work harder. We have to work harder. We have to work every hour God sends to make a living. No, you have to work smarter. You have to work smarter. Work on your mindset. Work on what you want. Know what you want. Focus on that and only focus on that. And then everything else then shows up. When you focus on yourself, your relationships will change. Oh my goodness. I mean, I fell totally in love with my husband again. I'm an amazing mother, amazing stepmother. The time I spend with my parents, because I'm radiating that love out towards everyone. I'm not trying to grab from everything else. I've come from within now, and that's a totally different understanding. It's a different level of awareness as well. But the key point, like the very, very key point, is look at who you're spending your time with. Okay? And I shared this on last week. If you're spending your time with people that's criticizing other people, judging other people, talking about other people, thinking about the economy, what's going on in the economy, tearing other people down, that's who you become. And that's what you're bringing into your life. So be very careful if you're spending your time with go-getters, with A-star performers, that people that you're mastermind, and you're talking about how you're going to grow your business. You're talking about right down to even marketing, media. What are you doing? Like, look at them conversations. Go back on your phone and open your phone and look at the last 4 messages, the group messages or 4 messages you sent, and that is a sum of who you are. And that again is taking full responsibility for yourself. So it is. And it's a self-discovery journey. And the self-discovery is, I know who I am now. I know what I'm doing, and I know my purpose, and I stand so strong in my vision of the amount of people I have to help. And that's what
it's hard. It's hard work this year, Melanie.
I love it.
I know, but there's a lot. People have, as I said, just trudging through life, doing their work and all, and they've never went much deeper. Some people would be afraid to, and some people don't believe it can be of value. However, that thing you've just said about surrounding yourself with people can actually mold your journey so much. And I know that, like, I've been in the toxic WhatsApp groups and the friends that, not really friends, but seem to tear others down and get deadly delight off that. And once you do put those out and you focus and be around the people that are spurring you on and all, great things can happen. So I totally get that. I think that's really good advice for people. Melanie, is there any, well, apart from The Secret, any good books that you've read recently that you can direct people to?
Yes, Think and Grow Rich. Bob, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is one of my key ones, but a really good one for anybody just starting their journey would be Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. And that's by Bob Proctor. You can get it on Audible. I get the actual physical book and Audible, and I listen to him. Audible's amazing because it's Bob talking. He's actually reading it through, and that's amazing. So anyone just starting your journey, change your paradigm, change your life, because that's your paradigm is controlling you. But I want to go back and just touch.
Bob Proctor's some man. There's so many people talking about him. I actually don't know anything about him. I just hear you all, like people that are in your business and industry talking about how powerful he is. I must maybe order that Audible and listen. I'm always interested to hear how people can help you on your journey, but he has some presence, doesn't he?
Well, he changed my life. He completely changed my life. Now, he was one of the speakers on The Secret, okay? And it was him that then really I had connection to, because he reminded me of my granny. And that presence of him. But he is number one in human potential in the world. He passed away in February, and I mean, he has changed so many people's lives. I became a consultant through Proctor Gallagher Institute as well. I went on then, I have my own company, and it's really seeing that, do you know what? Northern Ireland is amazing, but Northern Ireland has got a paradigm as well. Like, there's a cultural paradigm. It's not just a personal paradigm. There's a cultural paradigm of people that's not aware of this material. Like, I spend 50% of my time in the States. Like, you be in America, and it's completely different. Everyone, every business, anyone that you're talking to is all about developing themselves, all about confidence, building that confidence within themselves. Whereas you come back here and say, oh, be you quiet. Don't you get out of your box too much. Stay in your box. But that's just a paradigm here. And it's like you come back, and I love the city I live in, but it's like goldfish bowl. Everybody's so interested in what you're doing because, for me, if I can plant a seed today in one person's life that think that I want something more, or do you know what? I can actually feel better than what I can. And that's what Bob did for me. Totally transformed everything, Caroline.
And that's what you're doing for us, which is amazing. Yeah. Like, there's so many people listening to the podcast now. You're going to be getting up a little bit earlier, setting their 15-minute timers, becoming laser focused, and you are doing that for people. So thank you so much. Like, it's I think people need to listen to this podcast with an open mind. I would have been I was so busy whenever I had my retail shop that I actually believed I didn't have time to do this thing you're talking. Like, I was like, I don't have time for that. That is not for me. That is not going to help. That's the way I would have thought, Melanie. And I don't have my shop now. Perhaps there's a lot more behind that. I don't know. Like,
you're here serving. You're here, you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. So this is
maybe this was all meant to be. Yes. Yeah. But I love the tips that you give. I think everybody needs to think like this. We're so flipping busy. We're going to crash and burn if we don't look after ourselves and self-develop, as Melanie said. So thank you for opening my mind. I'm definitely going to read The Secret. I'm always open to knowledge. I think that is how we grow. But how can people find out more about Melanie Breslin and check in with you and connect with you, Melanie? Tell us where they can find you.
I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Elite Mindset Academy. So you can get me on my website as well, melaniebreslin.com.
I'm going to put all the links for Melanie's socials and website in the show notes for the Digg podcast. I want to thank you. I want you to wish me luck in my 15-minute laser focused tasks.
Well, the thing about it is, Caroline, you create your own luck. You know you've got it. We create our own luck. So we do.
I've got this. And everyone that's listening, good luck on your journey of 15-minute tasks. It definitely works. Honestly, let us know if you're listening on social, or if you're listening to the podcast. Let us know. Send us a message on social, me or Melanie, and let us know how those 15-minute bursts of productive work are going. Thank you so much for being on the Digg podcast, Melanie. It was an absolute pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you for tuning in this week. That was a very different one, but one which I learned a lot from. Like, definitely being laser focused is something I struggle with. I find it hard to finish a task, move on, tick it off, and feel like I've achieved something. So that's something that I took from the podcast, as well as maybe getting up a wee bit earlier and stopping pressing that snooze button, as well as surrounding myself by the positive people that thankfully I do have, but just always remembering that it's those around you that build you up, really. So yeah, very different podcast, but it's always good to open your mind to new knowledge. Thank you for tuning in for another week. Let us know if you listen to the podcast, if you put anything into practice at all. Always love to hear your thoughts. Tag us on social at Digg for Success, and I'll be sure to reshare your stories on my page. Until the next time, thanks for listening to the Digg Podcast.